The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills after show starts now.
Why do you think Kathy's behavior in Aspen is a topic of discussion?
None of us heard anything, so we can't really speak to it. There weren't any cameras around. This is all, talk.
Hearsay.
Yes. So why this is being brought up?
I'm getting tired of being the whipping boy when I know that there are others who display not the best behavior.
I'm so really upset after what happened in Aspen. Was it really that bad? Yes.
We don't know. This is, I think, a family affair, and we need to leave it as a family affair.
I will say this, I'm someone that is willing to say I've made a mistake and try to move on as best I can, not expecting anyone to understand or forgive. In my opinion, the cover-up is much worse than what was said.
She tried
to silence me.
Oish.
She sent me a text. Please do not say anything we discussed. Otherwise, it will make a huge scene that everyone gets dragged into. No bueno, but bueno is spelled wrong.
I have been on the receiving of that exact statement, so I understand it very well. Look, people make mistakes and it's a tough one.
My therapist taught me to not engage. She said that's the one thing you should do, Sutton, is not engage.
I love to stir the one stirrer can call out another stirrer, okay, honey? I don't know if I'm a stirrer. What I am is a truth seeker. I'm a bullshit caller. Housewives like to call you a stirrer.
If you're strong and you have an opinion, then you're considered a stirrer. She's not a stirrer at all. She stands up for what she believes in. She's very strong, and she calls it like it is and wants people to be honest and tell the truth.
I mean, I think there's times where she admits and saying, you better believe I'm going to talk about that when she's sipping her drink.
She asks a lot of questions. She brings stuff to the surface, but not because she's stirring, but we can't sit around talking about the weather and where we got our nails done.
She'll say things like, well, how does that make you feel, Kyle? How did you feel about that, Teddy? What were you thinking? I'm like,
and we're like, what are you thinking?
New therapist in
we're
the
like,
room?
what are you thinking?
I'm like, quit asking me that, Rinna, what do you think?
If I smell bullshit or if I see bullshit, I'm gonna say I see and smell bullshit. And a lot of people who have a lot of bullshit, they don't like when someone sees it or smells it. So rather than a stir, I would call me a bullshit detector.
You're kind of jumping to Teddy's defense, and Kyle kind of tries to...
Cuts me off.
No sleeping, so much anxiety.
She got something off her chest tonight, which is bearing a burden for her.
No offense, she's also struggling right now.
Oh, wait a minute.
I mean, she's up.
You didn't let me finish. That's not fair.
Well, I'm just saying, everyone knows Teddy's...
Kyle, I didn't finish. Let me finish the thought.
Okay.
Why did you want to stick your neck out to defend her?
Because Dorit doesn't like to see anybody cry.
In that moment, I'm sitting across from Teddy, and she's pregnant, and she's not an enemy of mine. We've had our bumps in the road. So I thought, wow, this must not have been easy for Teddy.
Denise, I'm not going to torture you any longer. She said you two had sex.
And then Kyle cuts me off.
I care about Denise more than you do. I mean, I really do. And
it's not a competition. I'm just saying.
No, but
that was hard for her. I get it, but she's
God,
having
you didn't let me finish. So that was a little bit rude. My girlfriend over here doesn't know how to shut up when she needs to.
I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back that night because, aside from the fact that I'm actually coming in for her friend, it's not nice. And I understand if someone's talking a lot and, people tend to cut people off, but I've sort of had this reigning issue with Kyle throughout the season where I feel like she doesn't let me finish what I have to say.
Yes.
Not everybody agrees with you in a moment. You break down.
You, Dorit.
And she knew that, there was something that she had done that really upset me and, that she had cut me off one too many times. And I sort of had enough with Kyle. And I think that we talked it out a little.
I just feel like sometimes, Kyle, I'm trying to make a point and then you cut me off
thinking that I'm making the opposite point to what I'm actually making, and then it makes me look bad if you let me finish the sentence.
Everybody in this whole group does that when there's stuff going on.
There was an apology, but then kind of an apology.
I wasn't thinking about anything except the fact that, oh my God, what Denise is gonna have to deal with right now. The thing is, I'm the kind of person, especially if I care about somebody, I get so tortured and upset. Emotions are running high. But I do apologize, and you know that I love you.
When she says to me, I love you, I'm always gonna love you, we love each other, we're gonna be great friends forever, nothing's ever gonna break us, and you just kind of move on. So I think that at that moment, truthfully, we were enjoying, being in, outside dining in a piazza, eating a really yummy dish of pasta and having a glass of wine, and we're about to go shopping. And I'm always gonna choose to have fun over fight.
Sutton, you and Erika have another conversation at dinner where you try to make peace.
I did call a meeting, if you will, without Erika, because I was in a nervous place. But I'm not going to apologize for it because I was only asking questions.
I'm not sorry for what I did, with that group of women. I'm not sorry for what I said. I'm not sorry for the questions that I asked, but I am sorry that it gave her additional stress because I could see it on her face. Because I am sorry that obviously my bringing the girls together and doing all this gave her so much stress that she felt the need to attack me.
You ever call me a liar again? I'm coming for you.
And I noticed that and I thought about it, and I think on things. I think on things a lot. I'm a very contemplative person. I seek out opinions from people that I really highly respect.
That's zero okay. Mm-mm. Okay, but you can't walk off like that.
Why can't I? I thought I have really maybe put this woman in undue stress, and I don't want to live with that.
From the minute I arrived at the venue, watching the sunset, seeing my family and all my friends I love so much, having my kids there, the rainbows in the background, the sunset. And David looked so handsome, and having his family there. And there was a lot of special miracles that happened. My mom made it there for my wedding. That was a miracle. I didn't think she was gonna make it. I didn't think she was gonna make my wedding. I'm glad that the girls were there to experience what I love so much about the Hawaiian Islands, and it's just a really special day.
Camille's wedding highlights. Okay, well, we were in Hawaii. Great sunset, and there was even a rainbow. Yeah. That's about it.
What was the best part of Camille's wedding, you think?
The departure.
As you ladies are leaving La Quinta, one more bombshell drops.
Oh my God. It's a long article. It's bad.
My initial reaction is, oh my God, this is huge and just bad. Just bad.
Honestly, I personally didn't even read the entire article that day because it was so long.
I have to read. I have to have copies.
But it's just too long. I can't, it's gonna take a minute.
And it was very confusing, Sutton read the entire article.
When I get at 7 in the morning an article, I've got my readers on, and I'm like, what?
They used the word Ponzi scheme.
No, they did?
Yes.
In this article?
Yes.
It's taking from Peter to pay Paul.
Yes.
It was like $100 million. I'm like, we're dealing with something really big here. And then all of these victims were mentioned in the article.
The Boeing victims were not paid. There's not only orphans involved, there's a burn victim. There's a group of women.
The hormone.
Yes, they weren't paid.
Because when I was reading about the different groups of victims, I was like, why haven't we heard about this?
It was like, what exactly is this? What's happening? Because there's not been any mention of this. This is real criminal behavior. That was the part that was most surprising and most difficult to digest. And this is kind of insinuating that this is far bigger than we thought it was.
I felt very connected to the victims because I have a lot of friends in Indonesia and Malaysia, and the Lion Air was off the heels of the Malaysian air crash. So I remember always, like, both times panicking, calling my friends, like, are you guys okay, you know, and if they knew people, and, you know, it's obviously a big deal for the country. It felt very personal.
I did not read it. I didn't read it, and I came in to the group just a couple weeks before this, so I didn't know all of the history. I don't know, all these girls are lawyers, okay?
How do you have a business and not know?
I mean, do you think Tom Girardi comes home and says, and oh, by the way, I've borrowed over here and I'm in a little bit of trouble? Like, that ain't happening.
Right.
So I was just listening to just kind of back and forth. They were asking so many questions, and I don't always believe everything I read anyway.